Thanks for listening to Leadership Level Up. I'm Brian Prairie.
And I'm Dr. Jeff Williamson.
I am just starting my leadership journey.
And I've been guiding leaders for 30 years.
Our podcast aims to shine a spotlight on outstanding leaders and provide a platform for them to describe their leadership journey and share the guiding principles that have helped them become great leaders.
Welcome to Leadership Level Up podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Williamson, along with my co-host, Brian Prairie.
Good day.
And we are really happy to have a friend back with us who was on the show previously, but had such a great conversation. We're looking forward to continuing with Evelyn Magley. And good to have you back with us. We'll talk about all your wonderful accomplishments in a second, but good to have you back.
Thank you, Jeff and Brian. I'm excited to be on the show again and to be able to tell more about the basketball league and a little bit about BSL on what's going on with us.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So for those of you that maybe haven't had a chance to listen to our first conversation, Evelyn is the CEO of the basketball league, which we'll talk more about here in a second. And she has a long career as both a basketball league professional and now CEO. She also has a history as a music educator and has degrees in music education and music therapy. So she is a very multi-talented lady who's done a lot of wonderful things with those degrees and backgrounds. So we'll let your story and our conversation tap into those a little bit more. But again, we're just so happy to have you. So the last time we were chatting some, you had shared about a new aspect of the basketball league that you referenced, the Super League. So I'd love to throw it back to that and say, hey, tell us more about that, what that is, what that's going to be. That'd be terrific.
Well, we have just launched Basketball Super League. And Basketball Super League is a premier league and what would be called a destination league for players that are looking to play at that premier level. Not that they're not playing at a premier level in the basketball league, but we're talking about a level where the venues are going to be larger, anywhere from 2,500 and up. The players would be paid beginning anywhere from 1,500 to in excess of 10,000 a month, which is huge for players that are looking to play professionally in a destination league. And so it's going to have a larger fan base, larger venues, and it's going to be across North America.
That's amazing.
Exciting. Yeah, so not just America, but Canada and you had mentioned in our previous conversation that because of how much exposure there is, both for the TBL and will now be the Super League, players have opportunities to maybe go abroad to play in other leagues around the world, and who knows how far they can go with that exposure and the opportunity to play the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. So along with that, when we chatted last time, you had talked about how you and your team at the basketball league have just been so intentional about investing in the communities and being ambassadors, and the players really living and serving in their communities outside of the time when they're in practice and games, and how much engagement and connection that has brought about for the local teams, 49 across the U.S. right now, and soon to be more.
Yes. So our players are actively involved in the community, and that this is one of the things when they have their onboarding with their teams. Each community has its own demographics. They have their own needs, and depending upon which community they're in, there are a variety of ways that they can serve as ambassadors. In some ways, that might be that they are working with nonprofit organizations. They may set up youth clinics that are weekly, and sometimes they have individual trainings that have gone on. We had a player in Jamestown Jackals that has his own training program in that community where he has clinics every week. And there was a young man that was participating in that, and I had the opportunity to meet his grandfather at a game. And that interaction went similar to this. He walked up to me and he says, "Hey, are you that lady that's over this team, this league?" And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to go.
You know, my
right?
heart was racing. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm like, yes. Well, I got something I got to tell you. I'm like, okay. And I just want you to know, I don't like basketball. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, but he's at the game.
Where is this
said,
going?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay. He goes, I don't like basketball. I don't even like going to games. I said, okay. He said, but I want to tell you something. You see that kid right down there? I'm like, yes. He said, that's my grandson. And a couple of months ago, he just went inside himself. He wouldn't talk to us. He seemed to be going down. His grades were going down in school, and we didn't know what to do. So we thought, well, heck, we'll take him over here and put him in one of these little basketball clinics that they have over here. And he said, you know, that young man right there, and his name is Bernard Edwards, one of our players. He said, that young man right there, he took time with my grandson and he told him that he was good and that he should try really hard and do his best in his schoolwork and everything. And I don't even like basketball, but I can tell you one thing. I got my grandson back.
Oh.
I got my grandson back.
So
this man was in tears.
Oh my God.
My grandson, we thought we lost him. We got our grandson back. And he's happy and he's in school and he said, so I don't care. I don't like basketball, but I've been to every game.
I think he likes basketball now.
I think he does.
He's
Yeah.
like, if that young man's on the court, I'm coming to the game because I got my baby back. And, you know, I've got 1,000 stories that I could share with you of, and I'm going to tell you, Bernard had no clue that any of this was happening in this child's life. And this is how we impact lives. This is how you use the simple game of basketball to seed into communities and bring those children up. It's hard to prove a positive. It is hard to prove a positive because you can't tell or you don't know where that child was going to end up. But I do know one thing. He's back. And it's through Bernard using his platform to not just yell and scream and holler and tell, oh, you can't do that, but to build understanding that it's more than just basketball. And that's what, you know, people have to understand is what our mission is. It's more than just about basketball. We're about changing lives. It's so much more. So that's
wow. We're not done yet, but we could just go, okay, that's a wrap right there.
That was
that's all we need to hear. I'm inspired. I'm gonna go take a lap around the building.
But it's about that in community and you know, like I said, it's hard to prove a positive. But I will say that even when we were in Canada and I worked with the Brampton A's, the police chief or the police, I forget what they call it in Canada, the supervisor that was over the whole force came and spoke with me because I worked with community outreach. And she said, you know, we love the Brampton A's. And I said, yeah. I said, yeah. She goes, yeah, because crime goes down by 70% every night that there's a game.
Kids want to be at the games instead
because
of out doing who knows
kids
what.
want to be at the game. They're there. They're focused. They're having fun. And you can't put a dollar amount on
No,
that.
no, you
And
can't.
No, you
these are
cannot.
things, it's so that people like, well, oh, we don't need a basketball team in our community. We got enough, but it's not about the basketball.
No.
It's about community and providing entertainment, a safe place for people to come and have fun
Yeah.
and impact
It
lives.
reminded me, I was a book that I've been reading recently. They were talking about building community, and they used the phrase, there was this sense of place. And I love that because to me, that describes what you're just talking about. When they come to the games, whoever they're cheering for, however many times they've been there, they're feeling this sense of place or this sense of mattering, maybe to say, you know what, that guy came to my school, or he did a clinic, or, just telling somebody to, hey, keep studying and working hard, you can be somebody, little boy, little girl. And like you said about the other example you told, they don't even know often that if they say, hey, remember, keep studying hard, do what listen to your parents and do good things. You never know what that influence has, and that's one of the many ways it gets to be more than just the game.
Well, we have a lot of the players have said things like, I just want to give back. When I was growing up, I didn't have this or I didn't have that, but I had my basketball, and one of the guys from the school, came over to our school, and I remember what that did for me and how that encouraged me, and they want to give back. That it's not just about shining on the court. They really want to take the time to use their lives for something more than just slamming the ball in the hoop. And so this gives them opportunities to do that.
Yeah. We talked in our previous conversation about how y'all have built this culture across all of the teams, that you onboard them, you involve them in every community where there's a TBL team. And I love that so much, because as you describe that and what's happening with all the different teams, I'm thinking, man, our country needs that. Corporate America needs that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, we have one of the most diversified team market owners, I think, in the nation at a pro level. I mean, if you look, let's really look at this. You want to have a hard conversation, might not like what I'm saying, but it's the truth. If you look at team market ownership and you look at one of our premier leagues here, you have or had one minority, African American, that was what they call a team owner. And since I think he just sold some of his shares, I won't mention his name, but I think we know who I'm talking about. And in order to have a pro team in your community, number one, you've got to go through that premier league, and they already have 32. And how much do you have to have in your assets and your value?
How many millions and millions?
3.6 billion
billions with a B.
with a capital B.
Yeah.
And how will you in most communities have an opportunity to function and bring that to a community? Our smaller communities take ownership.
Yes.
They're
emotional ownership.
Our Kokomo Bobcats, come on, and they're playing against the Lebanon Leprechauns or the Medora Timbercats.
It's on.
It is on. And we got bragging rights for the next week until we meet again.
That's right.
And we have something that is fun, but it's also being brought by individuals that are from those communities.
Yeah.
Philanthropists and people that say, I want to bring something to my community. And then we're bringing in not just, it's wonderful to seed into people's lives, but I'm going to tell you what really speaks is that money. Because we bring streams of revenue into communities that typically don't have something at that level that would bring in that revenue from outside sources, people that are coming in. They got to what? They got to buy gas. They have to eat at restaurants. They have to stop and shop while they're there. They're bringing in dollars in that community that possibly would have never come in from people that are driving right by it on the highway and never stopping.
Yeah. As you were describing that, and I mentioned earlier, I think in our conversation, I'm an Indiana boy, so I'm born and raised, love my basketball, and I know my friends in Kokomo love their basketball. That's from the Michigan City to Evansville, Indiana, man, Hoosiers love their basketball. And I feel like, yes, you have teams all over America, but I feel like that excitement, that sense of community pride that I know from being an Indiana kid and all these community high school level teams, it feels like you have captured that sense of place, that sense of that's our team, and multiply that from coast to coast. And that's not something that is easy to do.
I will tell you, speaking of spreading and diversified, we have citizens, Potawatomi Nation, the first Native American tribe to have a team in TBL. Potawatomi Fire just won our 2023 championship. Yeah. And within that community, we had such a diverse turnout of individuals that are supporting that team that we had 3,000 plus in that arena, filling it up, just screaming their heads off and having a blast.
You sent me the link and I was watching. I'm like, it's crazy.
And they played against a team that was from the inner city of St. Louis. And these two communities coming together, having a blast, enjoying the experience and competing with one another, from across the nation. It was overwhelming with emotions for me to be able to experience that and seeing the love between, even though, it was pretty brutal on the court, I will tell you, but
it was intense.
To see the fans that were coming out and people that had driven all the way from St. Louis to see that team play was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you've captured that hometown fervor, if you will, for all the teams that are in the league. I think that's extraordinary. I really do.
Did you ever imagine that would ripple out like that? Did you just, you're doing such great things.
I would tell you that it's a God-given vision, and who knows how large in which direction it will go. There's, I'm certain, more to go, because when God gives a vision, it's never small. Right. It's always bigger than we can even comprehend. But as far as seeing where it is going, I see it going more international, because it's something that I believe is growing. Basketball is one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Right.
And communities all over the world would love to have this. And so, yes, it's going to grow way beyond the constructs of the USA and Canada, I believe.
Right. Awesome. And if they don't already know, when they understand that sense of community, that sense of the culture that you all have created and continue to create with the league, I think that's only going to heighten the level of interest in those communities all over Europe, all over who knows where, because people love basketball around the globe.
Well, yeah, and the value is more than money. The value is like you said, it was building communities.
Yes. So we're excited about it. And originally, when we first started, we had 8 teams, and we went from 8 to 10 to 12. Then during the pandemic, we actually tripled in size to 29, then to 44, then to 49. And eventually, when you add in BSL, we're looking to have a total of at least 24 teams in Canada, and also 64 across the United States. So they're in pods. If you look, you can see that it's somewhat strategic, because when you have the travel and you're playing teams in a pod, it it helps you to be able to financially
Mhm.
be able to travel. You don't have as many overnights. You don't have airfare travel. And,
Right.
Keeps
you
your
know,
costs down. Yeah, for sure.
yes,
I wanted
yes.
to tag something that you mentioned there, and where you said during the pandemic, I think you added more teams during that period than any other time. How do you do that? I mean, who does that besides the basketball league? I only
I
know
would
one.
say, I would say it's God.
Yeah, yeah.
It's far beyond me to explain that, other than it's God
Hmm.
just showing us and bringing communities together when it was a very um, terrifying time
It really
and
was.
across the world.
Yeah. So communities were reaching out to you
Hmm.
smack in the middle of the pandemic saying,
Yes,
hey, things are rough right now, but we want to start a basketball team in our community that can be a part of
mhm,
what the TBL is doing.
right. It was amazing because I think the time that we had, that downtime that we had, allowed people to think. I know for myself, it really puts things in perspective as to what's really important. And people had time to actually see their loved ones, probably more on FaceTime than ever, stop and think, what am I on this earth for? Because during that time, so many lives were being lost, that for myself, I'm thinking, I want to leave a mark. This is important. And life is so short. And we have philanthropists and people that were in communities that said, you know what? If I'm ever going to do something for my community, I'm going to do it now.
Hmm.
The time is now.
That time is now. And so we're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. That's terrific. And I think that's so true for myself and probably for all of us was, I've heard that from other business owners. They said, yeah, it was a tough time because everything was constricting and shut down, but we had time to plan, to strategize, to rethink
Mhm.
what our legacy might be, to rethink what we wanted our work to look like. I mean, I know I did because I'm
Mhm.
not doing now what I was doing 3 or 4 years ago. And I loved what I was
Wow.
doing 3 or 4 years ago. But this is a
Wow.
bigger deal to me
Hmm.
Yeah.
even than that was.
Yeah.
I
And
That is
I think that's
awesome.
it. I think
Yeah, it
that's it.
is. It's finding and thinking, what am I here for? When I taught, I would tell my students, why are you on this earth? Stop and think. From the moment you took your first breath, from the beginning of the world and time to the end, till you take your last breath, there will never, ever, ever be another you. That is profound. And it tells you that you're special, that you're on this earth for purpose. And it's much more than just going to work. I have people that they go to work every day, but they're miserable. They're
Yeah.
making
Right.
all kind of money. When my husband played in the NBA,
Mhm.
and you're getting a call from a multimillionaire saying, can you guys ride in the car with me to go to Wendy's? Because he feels like he wants to blow his head off because he's lonely and he's got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
Perspective
Yeah.
Yeah.
as
Because
to
there's more
really,
to it.
yeah,
Mhm.
wealth is not just money.
No.
Mhm.
Wealth is
Mhm.
your family. It's your
Mhm.
life. It's doing what you love. It's helping people. It's here to be on this earth to serve others. And I think that rude awakening in time of the 2.5 to 3 years, it shook us all up a little bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we, in some ways, we needed to shake things up.
No,
You
oh
know,
no, yeah.
I often have said to I have 3 adult children now, and they're 20, son that's 30. And I've often said to them when they would ask about work, I said, most days I feel like I get paid to be me.
Isn't that great?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can feel it, like
Mhm.
having this interview with you all. It's like I feel like talking to a friend.
Oh, it makes me happy.
Because there's integrity behind what you're doing, and you can feel it, and it's
Oh,
not
that makes me
fake.
happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not fake. It's like when
Yeah.
you teach, if you're a teacher and you don't like what you're doing, those students know it.
Oh yeah.
You can't come in there day after day and be fake. You know you're fake.
Nope.
You're faking. And the thing of it is if you don't love what you're doing,
It
Oh
shows.
yeah.
it shows.
And
Right.
kids know it right away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I spent 30 years in higher ed, and high school age 20 somethings. It
Mhm.
takes them 5 seconds maybe to
Mhm.
take a read and go, okay, you're real. I can talk to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Or you're just pretending to be a teacher, pretending to
Right.
be something else.
Right.
And we were talking with somebody the other day about authenticity
Mhm.
and being comfortable with who we are and being willing to
Right.
show up that way. Because as you
Exactly.
said, will never be another Evelyn, ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. This,
Brian,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
we're all uniquely put together.
Yeah.
And yeah, having that purpose, having that sense of, I want to make a mark here, not to build my name, but to build up other people.
Mhm.
Right.
That's easy to get up out of bed in the morning and go, all right, let's go.
There we go.
I know, it's exciting. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's easy either, but
No.
it just
Oh.
takes the pressure off of life, because you can just be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And let's face it, we live in a society now where your social media it's a glorified like People magazine for young people. And we know that most Hollywood stars that start really young, by the time they get to be older, sometimes they don't handle that pressure.
Mhm.
So we've got young people that are dealing with pressures as though they are movie stars. Imagine you have fans. Imagine it. Not friends, but you have fans that are watching your every move and what you do and commenting on you. We're really not built to take that negative feedback, as the children are every day. And so it's important that we teach them to be confident and secure in who they are, so that when they have to deal with that social media, they're able to say, it doesn't matter what they think. I am
Yeah.
who I am.
Yeah. One of the best things that any of us could say is, I feel like it's okay to be me. And that's an internal work, right? And like you were
Yes.
saying, a lot of times when we see, whether it's social media or approval from peers or whatever, the setting is that, and I think that's hard. We all do this, but it's even harder when we're teens and 20 somethings,
Yes,
that
exactly.
we're looking for that
Approval.
affirmation or that sense
Mhm.
of value from other people. And at some point, we have to be able to understand it's okay to be me, and I know who I am, and I'm okay with that. Because
Mhm.
when we figure out that we don't have to imitate, that we can be comfortable in our own skin, man, what a freeing reality that
I
is.
know. I know. I'm hoping that we can um, get the message out as we work with young people, you know, uh, to just get to know who they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have one other question before this delightful talk will need to wind up. I want to know when you're doing a TED Talk.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Golly. I mean, your heart just overflows with nuggets and good stuff. I'm serious. I'm like,
so giving in every aspect of the word.
yeah. I've seen a lot of TED Talks, and we had a friend on recently who's going to be recording one very soon. And,
wow.
And yeah, I was going through my mind, and I'm talking about the stories you have, the impact that you and all the team at TBL are making. That was my question was, so when is Evelyn going to do a TED Talk? I think it needs to happen. Well, I know Jennifer is your manager of all things, media.
She calls her.
What, my amateur observation is she needs to get in touch. She needs to get in touch with to do a mom TED Talk. I think that needs to happen.
Yes, Jennifer is she calls herself my momager. So
I love that. Yeah.
So yeah, she is amazing, and I learned so much from her, as I do from all of my children, my husband, my parents. I try to learn by observing and listening and watching, so that I can understand and better impact people as I listen. One of our team market owners told me, do you know why you have two ears and one mouth? And I was like, why? And he said, to listen twice as much as you speak.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. I've had some people remind me of that. I don't think they were doing so in love.
But he was doing it in love.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It was just something that I thought, wow, I'm going to utilize that as a leader to make certain that I do that, because I work with so many different types of people in the league, and I want to learn and observe so that I can, when I do speak, it means something.
Yeah,
I think that's
so key.
I think that's one of the things I've learned in my leadership journey is to listen and listen well and process it. And because if you want to talk and shoot from the hip right away, that usually is not the best reaction. So I've been becoming a better listener these past few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I often say relationships are everything.
Yep.
And that to me really summarizes how you lead the basketball league, how you're living out your life. And man, it's just been such a joy to have you with us to talk more about who you are and what you're doing.
Actually, I have one last question, and it's for Jeff. When are we getting a basketball league in Kinky?
Well, I thought about that. We can talk offline.
Yeah, we need
what we need to do.
We need to get some people around.
I think I could put together an ownership group.
I think
yes, most definitely, because it's something that you're building for that community, and you're building legacy and memories. And like I said, you can't put a dollar amount on that.
Nope.
It's so vitally important to our existence.
Well, Evelyn, thanks again. It's been absolute joy to talk with you, to hear you laugh.
Yeah, your energy is contagious. I feel like I'm gonna go run a 5K now.
Yeah.
I need to run a 5K after this season. I think I put on at least 10 pounds because we travel so much. I eat out, and everything has salt or sugar in it. So
yeah. Well, gosh, blessings on you, your family, everybody associated with the basketball league. I am now a fan of both of you and the basketball league, and love everything you're doing, and for the 49 communities and more to come across America and Canada as the league just continues to grow and change communities and lives one by one. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you so much. And if people want to know more, they can also go to www.thebasketballleague.net, as in hoops, or they can go to basketballsuperleague.com. And there's so much more that's going to be coming, and And we need everyone's prayers and support as we branch out to change lives and communities.
Boy, that's something I can get on board with, folks. Check out their websites, see where the nearest TBL team is from you, and go next season, go check it out, take in a bunch of games, and maybe Miss Evelyn will be there. You can even meet her. That would be a treat.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much. It's been an honor. We'll talk to you again sometime.
Thank you,
Okay.
Evelyn.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Leadership Level Up. Please subscribe so you don't miss future conversations with great leaders.